Hey, what's up? My name is Tyson Brown and I want to welcome you to Tyson's Fitness Tips podcast. This is Australia's top health and fitness podcast to help you lose weight, look good with your shirt off, feel confident in your body, and finally achieve the goals you want with your health and fitness. So 5 days a week, I'm going to be giving you top information from myself and also from leading experts in the field so you know everything you need to do to get in the best shape of your life. From nutrition to mindset to workout, everything is covered in this podcast and you need to go nowhere else. So like I said, it's going to be 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, in your ears with quick actionable segments that you can implement straight away, because the most important thing is that you can put these things into play. Also, if you listen all the way to the end of the episode, you're going to get 2 special gifts that you can download upon listening to it. So make sure you listen all the way to the end to get those free gifts, okay? So let's get into the episode. Guys, this is Tyson's Fitness Tips. I decided to do something a little bit different today, and we're going to run it off an Instagram Live and a Skype call, because I was like, you know what, let's just do social media to the max, because the person I want to bring on today, he knows all about social media, but he also knows a lot about health and fitness, which is why I wanted to bring him on today, because we were just actually having the conversation saying that, you know, we both kind of do the same thing. Like, we are in a little bit different professions, but we both teach people to be healthy and fit. And so that's why I wanted to bring Dr Mudgil on today. So I really appreciate you coming on today, mate. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. It's so awesome. I'm so glad you reached out to me. Both obviously being Gary Vee fans, and I did check out your Instagram page after you reached out to me, man. I love what you do, and I'm super psyched to be here to talk to you, man.
No, that's awesome, man. It's funny that, you know, the power of social media, you can just get access to people all over the world now, and it's just crazy.
Yes, I have my media team here with me now, and I just wrapped up seeing patients in my New York City office. We grabbed a quick lunch, and I just told them when we're walking out, I was like, all right, cool, we're going to do a podcast from my buddy from on the other side of the planet. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. And so, Adash, the first question I kind of want to ask, like, for people who don't know about you, can you give us a bit of a background about, you know, what you do and how you help people?
Absolutely, man. So I'm in the States, you to practice any medical field, you have to go to medical school and do a residency and take board certifications and all that sort of stuff. So I'm a board certified dermatologist, and I'm also a board certified dermatopathologist. So what that means is I see patients and I do all the things that you would expect a dermatologist to do. You know, I treat like acne and skin cancers and that sort of stuff. But I also do a lot of cosmetic procedures. I do, like, you know, Botox and fillers and laser procedures and, you know, a bunch of other stuff. And being a pathologist, I'm the guy who makes the diagnosis. So if you were to go to a dermatologist and have a skin biopsy, that goes off to a lab, and someone in the lab, puts the tissue on the slide, and the pathologist looks at that tissue, at the cells under the slide, and makes a very specific diagnosis. Like, for instance, is this a cancer or not, or what kind of rash is this? I'm the guy who does that as well. So I kind of do the full gamut of what's offered in dermatology from A to Z. And it's a super comprehensive practice. I have 2 practices, one on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan in New York City. And as my family expanded, I have 3 kids. We moved out to the suburbs. So I have an office out in Long Island as well.
Wow. Sounds like you've always got a lot going on, which is awesome.
Yeah, man. It's the more the better, right?
Yeah.
Keeps the hustle alive.
And so, like, obviously, when it comes to, like, you know, when it comes to people who are doctors, you don't really think about doctors and health and fitness. Like, the advice you get from, even if you get a medical doctor, is very, very generic. But one thing that I heard from you is that, like, you will be telling your patients, hey, you know, you've got to start eating like this, or you've got to start training. You actually advocate that a lot. So, like, what started getting you thinking more about health and fitness and getting into those side of things?
My personal life, man. So I was always like a quote unquote skinny fat for years and years and years. And with each kid, I gained 10 pounds. I have 3 kids, so I gained like 10 pounds with each kid. So it was Thanksgiving of maybe like 2011 or 2012. And hold on one second, man. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
top window.
Sorry, give me a second here. Just like there's a big shadow.
Is that better?
So in Thanksgiving 2011 or 2012, I was sitting on the couch, and my brother-in-law was sitting on the couch next to me. And he was a guy who was in tremendous shape at one point in his life, like ripped like you, man, like six-pack, the whole shebang. And we looked over at each other, and he said to me, I was drinking scotch. I had a scotch on my belly, and he had a beer on his belly. And we looked over at each other, and he said to me, he's like, "Hey, man, like, what happened to us?" And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, like we're like these old married guys with kids, and we just let ourselves go. He said, all right, man, we're gonna make a bet. Who's gonna have a six-pack by Memorial Day, which is in May in the States. So this was November was Thanksgiving, and May was the target goal. And I'm a guy, I'm like balls to the wall with anything that I do. Like if there's like a challenge or a task, that's it, man. I'm going to go all in. And I went from 196 pounds, 20% body fat. I'm 6'2", so I'm a big guy. All the way down to 153 pounds, 154 pounds, and 8% body fat.
Whoa.
And and the funny thing is I look like shit because I became way too skinny. And people would tell me, like, when they'd see me, they'd say, "Hey, wow, you look great." And then they'd talk to one of my buddies and be like, "Dude, is he okay? Like, is he like dying of something? But the point is that having gone, and then now I'm about like 180, 10% body fat, but like put on a lot of muscle, and I've gone through this tremendous fitness journey, and having done it myself, like my patients, I've lived it. So having done it myself, like when my patients who ask me like, "Hey, I'm trying to lose weight, or I'm trying to do this," or I've done it. So like, I've tracked my macros, I've weighed my food, I've like, I do intermittent fasting, like, I really learned a lot and really invested a lot of myself into learning about fitness and nutrition. So why not offer that to my patients, right? Like I'm a skin doctor, but I'm also a doctor. And the goal is to help our patients be the best they can be.
Wow, man, that's a really interesting journey. And it's so cool that you got to live it first so you can teach people exactly, the way you did it and what went wrong, what went right. And now you can actually teach them the right way to do it so it's faster for them to be able to achieve the results because, they're coming to you for an issue, but when they start to, improve other areas of their health and fitness, those issues become like non-problems in the future because they're taking care just of like the actual cause of the problem, which is eating right, working out, nutrition, all those type of things.
Right. Yeah. Listen, the body is we're one organism, and there's a lot of moving parts in the body. There's a lot of organs, and the skin being the largest of them all. But at the end of the day, man, it's we have to just try to help our patients every way we can. And for me, for having the personal transformation that I had, I'm 43 years old now. I'm in the best shape of my life. And, if I can offer my patients any bit of help to get them to whatever their goals are, why not?
Absolutely. And like being able to do that, how did, were they like when you first started trying to teach people yourself? Like, were they receptive to the information, like to the advice you were giving? Like, when did you start to realize it was actually starting to pay off for them too?
Yes, it's a case by case basis, right, man? I mean, I can tell if I tell 100 patients like this is what you have to do, like track your macros and get a scale from Amazon Prime so you can weigh your food and weigh yourself every day at the same time. Maybe one person will do it. It's like Gary Vee always says, like I can give everyone the formula, like this is what you have to do, but very few people are actually going to execute. But if I can help 1% of my patients, that's a win, right? So whoever's going to listen to like all the stuff I'm saying, if one person has an amazing transformation, that's one person's life who I touched, and that's a tremendous win for me and for them. Like, I've achieved my goal. Like, I'm not looking for like 1,000, a batting average of 1,000 here. I'm just looking for touching as many lives and helping as many people as I can.
It's so funny to say that because it's the exact same way. There's only going to be, we can try and help as many people as you want, but a lot of people aren't going to be receptive to it. Like some people will like say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to take the advice," but Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Some people will take the advice, some people won't take the advice, but it's like, even if you can just change like that one person's life, it's better in the long run for them and for you, like just to know that you've changed that one person's life.
Yeah, what's better than that, man?
Yeah.
Not much.
And what I want to find out though, like, because you've got two practices, you have a family, you're working out in the world, like how do you manage all this? Because so many people say, I'm busy, I don't have the time, but like for you, at the moment you're recording a podcast in the back of a car. So like, how do you find the time to make sure you're taking care of your health and fitness every day? Like, do you schedule it first thing in the morning? What's it kind of like for you?
So you make time. You make whatever's important to you, make a priority. So for me, I work out, I do resistance training 4 times a week. And I know, I work out with a trainer, for safety reasons, because I don't want to like die under a barbell. And just because someone is there with you who's a true professional, who's pushing you, that I'm going to get the most out of that hour that I'm training, right? So I know I'm training 4 times every week, no matter what. So whatever time that is, if I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to do it, I'm going to do it. If I have to do it before I see patients, I'm going to do it. That's a priority for me. So whatever is important, I make a priority. So working out, my nutrition's obviously a priority. So I've been doing it for so long, like tracking my macros and all this sort of stuff, that I know basically what I need to eat throughout the day. So I make that a priority. Right now, all of the efforts that I'm putting into social media is a priority. So I make time for that. Like when you reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to do a podcast? I knew that we could do a Skype podcast while I'm commuting home. So I just sit in the back of my car just coast when, I can make this a productive hour. We could talk and, I can learn about you, you can learn about me. And, it's about extracting all the juice out of the day, man.
Yeah, that's so true.
And just and also being present for whatever it is that you're doing, right? So when I'm working out, that's what I'm doing for that hour. I'm present for that hour. I'm giving it everything I have. When I'm seeing patients, I saw 30-something patients this morning, that's what I'm doing for those 3 or 4 hours. When I'm doing this podcast, this is what I'm doing for the next hour. It's not only extracting the juice out of the day, but it's making sure you're invested in whatever it is that you're doing, so you can extract the most out of the experience that you're having, right? Kind of doing this and doing 3 other things at the same time, you're not going to get anything out of it. It's like if I'm reading a book, I'm reading a book. If I'm hanging out with my wife, I'm hanging out with my wife. If I'm hanging out with my kids, I'm hanging out with my kids. Just being present and really extracting as much as you can out of that experience.
It's so funny you say that, because that's been a problem just for me, lately, trying to do one thing at a time, because I'm always I'm gonna do this, and you try and do so many things together, but it's then you get nothing. It's like a watered down version of whatever you're trying to do, and you don't, you don't get the full experience. And having that, I don't know why, but I heard it on a podcast a couple of months.
All of these.
Go for it.
Yeah, so there are a lot of these productivity books that are out there. I'm sure you read a bunch of them, Getting It Done, and there's a bunch of stuff. But and they all basically say the same thing. I don't know if you read the book The One Thing. A lot of it's multitasking is kind of like bullshit. It's not. It's really, you can't multitask and do things well. It's almost like being singularly focused to multiple tasks throughout the day, but devoting your singular energy to those tasks when you're doing them. That's what being productive is. When I'm filming an Instagram post or doing some of my media guys, that's what I'm doing. You can't do 5 things well. You can do one thing well. So yeah, give it that one thing 5 or 10 minutes, and that's the only thing you're thinking about, and then you'll do it well. But then in an hour, if you're giving 5 minutes to the one thing you're doing, you can accomplish 12 things well, right?
That's so true. You don't even think about that. It can just be those simple tasks that are actually 5 minutes, and give each thing its allotted period of time. It doesn't have to take a big chunk of time, but as long as you focus on that one thing for that short amount of time, it's still giving it all you can in that time.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, I was working out legs, and my mind was kind of drifting a little bit. And then like I really had to kind of like recapture my energy and just say, okay, I'm going to focus on the contraction of my quad, like while I do this. And just that's the only thing I'm going to think about. And it's crazy. Like, my workout was insane. I can't even walk today. I can like, I'm like hobbling around. But I think a lot of that was like the mindfulness that I put into my workout, right? Like, it's a powerful thing, man. The mind is like an amazing thing. Like, if you're really singularly focused and, 100% engaged in whatever it is you're doing, it's like the potential is just like insane, man. You really tap into something.
Absolutely. And I think like even though we're talking about this now, for the people listening, it's not going to happen all of a sudden overnight. Like, if you aren't used to giving everything your all and you're all focused, just start with those small things. Like you said, focus for 5 minutes, then work on 6, and just slowly work your way up until you can give something a good amount of time. For like, you can go and have that hour, 45-minute workout, whatever it's going to be, and you're just there focusing for that 45 minutes and just working out and getting things done.
That is a really great point. It's a lot of it's like believing and loving the process. So I've been really into fitness pretty hardcore since I would say 2012. That's kind of like I always kind of worked out and stuff before, but it was like this half-assed bullshit workouts. I wasn't really watching my nutrition, and even though I would work out with a trainer every now and then, my heart really wasn't into it. I was just kind of going through the motions. But I really invested myself into it since 2012, and I will tell you, like now, 6 or 7 years into that journey is the first time I'm actually able to do that. But I believed in the process. And, I had my transformation. I got in good shape way before this. But, like, I'm actually able now to actually focus on a muscle or, the things that you read about in, like, the bodybuilding magazines or whatever, like, really focus on the contraction of the muscle. That was just an abstract idea to me, but now doing it for like 6 or 7 years, it's actually something that I can feel, but that's how long it takes. It takes a million reps of doing something to actually be able to like, do what the masters do. I'm not saying it by any means, I'm no way a master, but it really took me until like, this year or maybe like a year and a half ago to really be able to like focus on a body part or feel that one body part. But the reason why I was able to, I think, do that was because I trusted the process. I believed in like, all this work I'm putting in, it's going to end up somewhere. And now like, I feel like there's so much more that I can accomplish, right? Like the more success you have doing something or the more progress you make, it just empowers you to make that much more progress.
And that's like the way you said that, it's funny because a lot of people think, I'm going to get fit in 90 days or I'm going to get fit in whatever time it is. But it's like, it's not like you don't get to this place and then that's it. Like you're continually trying to move forward on that spectrum day by day, like just that little bit, because there's no like, okay, now I'm fit. Like you don't just get there. You don't get to a point. Like it's continually moving forwards and getting better at what you're doing.
Yeah, there's like that old saying, or fitness is a journey, not a destination. It's so true. Like like you're like way advanced in your fitness journey. Like for me, I'm trying to get like you. Like that's like there's always someone who's gotten further than you. But like it's a journey. So when you hit like a certain plateau or like a certain level. Well, I never dreamed of being in the shape that I'm in now, but now that I'm in this shape, I'm like, oh man, like, wow, like maybe I could get more jacked, like put 10 more pounds of muscle on or whatever it is, like it's awesome because like, like you're always trying to get to the next level, get better, do better, be better. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, so true. And like you don't know what your potential is. Like you can just keep going because you're never going to reach that full potential. Where there's a point in chasing it to see how far you can get, as opposed to going, maybe I could have got there. Like there's no point wondering. Try and see what you can actually get to.
Dude, 1,000%, man. And that's the story of life and everything.
For sure.
Totally, man.
It's so true. And so you actually mentioned something earlier about you do intermittent fasting. Like, do you still follow that then, or was that something you were doing in the past? What's kind of like a day in the routine for eating?
No, I still do it. I will say, like, now I'm actually trying to, like, I'm 178, 179 pounds, and I'm trying to get up to around 190 pounds and, like, low double digit, I mean, hopefully high single digit body fat. So I've actually started breaking my fast earlier on the days I work out and having like a shake right after I work out, and just adding more calories in. But for the days I don't work out, yeah, I do follow intermittent fasting still. So I basically have an 8-hour window that I eat, and the days I don't work out, I pretty much eat at maintenance, 15 calories per pound. And the days that I do work out, I try to up that to like 18 calories per pound. But I'm figuring it out. I'm kind of like, I'm trying to figure out what works best for my body. But yeah, I still do fast a lot. I still use intermittent fasting a lot. And I think physiologically it's a very sound philosophy. And I do, my patients who are struggling with weight, I definitely encourage them to do that. I think it optimizes the endocrine system to benefit them for weight loss and, putting on lean muscle. I think it works best with some form of resistance training. I think it's like really kind of geared towards that. And working out during your fast, I think, is the best way to go. But, everyone's different. Everyone's physiology is different. And you have to figure out what works for you and your lifestyle. Like intermittent fasting for me with my lifestyle is great. Because, I work a lot in the morning, so just drinking black coffee and water works well for me, and then I break my fast like when I'm done working, basically.
Yeah, I like that approach that you mentioned, especially at the end, like for your lifestyle. Like, not like I'm a big advocate of it, and I teach a lot of people. But a lot of people say, "Do I have to do it?" It's like, no, absolutely not. You've got to find out what works best for you. But most people most people who eat breakfast make shitty decisions, right? Like when you look at like what a breakfast is, you're like, they're like, "Oh, I eat this." It's like, why don't you just skip that? Drink some coffee, drink some water, and like make better decisions during the day. But it's also like you said, because you're busy, you don't have to think about food. Like if you can just kind of get in there, you're focused, don't have to worry about eating or anything like that. You can just dedicate, again, talking about that single focus. You can focus on what you're doing without getting distracted by food. Get what you've got to get done, and then start eating.
Right, it's almost like you reward yourself. And I think a lot of people that do intermittent fasting will say this, and I think a lot of it is actually because you're just so high on caffeine, like when you're fasting and you're drinking black coffee. But like you're in this hyper-focused state. Like I'm incredibly productive during my fast, just sort of plowing through work.
Yeah. I definitely think it's also because of the coffee that we're consuming during that time. But for sure, you just feel like you're on like a better zone level. But it's because you don't have the distraction, right? Because usually, if you're trying to do something and you're eating your food or you're trying to cook, like it's not giving that single focus. But if you can't eat, you're just sitting there doing what you've got to do.
Exactly, man. That's it.
And so you were saying that for you're trying to put on weight at the moment, which is obviously you're breaking your fast earlier to get in more calories, which is a big problem for people trying to gain mass. They have to have more. It's very hard to get a big amount of calories in a short window frame, and but you mentioned that you were trying to get back to 190, so that'll be an interesting before and after photo from originally because you said you started at 190, didn't you, in your original transformation?
Yeah, it was 196.
Yeah,
but I was like flabby.
Yeah,
flabby as hell. Boobs, the whole 9 yards.
It'd be really interesting to see if you have like a before photo of that, and then when you actually, if you got around the 196 mark again, looking ripped and jacked, it'd be very cool to see the comparison.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are very few pictures of me with my shirt off when I was 196 and 20% body fat.
And so, apart from obviously, you're working out 4 days a week. Do you do anything else when it comes to activity? Like, do you just take walks during your day to improve your NEAT activity, or do you go with your family and do activities on the weekend? Like, how else do you find ways to keep healthy and fit during the week?
It's tough because what I do is like I run around seeing patients, so I'm on my feet a lot, but I'm also a pathologist, so I'm sitting at a microscope, so I'm on my ass a lot of the time, just like sitting at my desk at the microscope. So I The weekends, yeah, I'm running around with the kids and stuff, but it's not much. Like for it's like other than running around. My office is downstairs in my Long Island office. My office in the Burbs, and my patient care floor is on the second floor. So I'm doing a bunch of stairs all day long because I always retreat back down to my office. But other than that, man, not that much. I mean, when the summer months roll around, I do play golf and I'll walk when I play golf. So that's good, like 5 or 6 miles of walking a couple of times a week. But that's why I really have to keep my diet. I have to really track my calories because it's hard to be active other than the times I'm actually working out. What I've been doing a lot lately is it's sort of like high intensity weightlifting. So you kind of get like you're still kind of burning calories afterwards. You just kind of feel it. Like I really feel like I'm just have a calorie deficit after restore that throughout the day. Whereas when I was doing more traditional, just like regular weightlifting, you don't really feel that metabolic effect of the workout beyond the workout itself,
I can hear what you're saying, and I actually appreciate you sharing the honesty about not being able to move much, because like as much as us, like me as a fitness professional, try and tell people, okay, try and do this during the day, like realistically sometimes you can't just be as active as you want to be. You can't be getting up every couple of minutes or whatever it is to move around, but that's when the nutrition side of things just becomes so important to make sure that you're on track with your nutrition.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's been the biggest thing, man. Like, and I tell my patients the same thing. You got to dial in your calories. You have to get like a MyFitnessPal or something like that and really track every single thing you eat for a good, like, 3 to 6 months. And then you'll really know, like, wow, like, I had like 3 glasses of wine last night when I was hanging out with my friends, and I went like 200 calories over my daily calorie intake, and then oh shit, like you really know. Or so I don't snack at all. I never snack. I know like what I need to do to dial my calories in, but I would never have known that had I not been so fanatical about tracking my calories. I mean, I did it for years actually.
Yeah, it's funny because that was the exact same thing as me, like learning the basics, like, and then understanding what portion sizes look like. You're like, oh, that's a teaspoon of peanut butter. It's like that's like more like a tablespoon and a half of peanut butter that you're actually putting on.
Yeah. Do you follow Greg Gallagher?
Yes, I do know who Greg Gallagher is. Yes.
So I was doing intermittent fasting before I was kind of turned on to him, but his books and stuff, it's pretty like a simple approach. Like I've gotten all his books, I've read them all. It's a good place to start, I think. I think it's really easy to kind of like get someone started on intermittent fasting. He's got a bunch of different programs which I think are really helpful for folks, depending on what your goals are, just to kind of get going with intermittent fasting.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because the book that I wrote was just exactly how to get started with it, because people find different ways of how to do intermittent fasting. They're like, they can do the daily approach, they can do the 5-2 approach. Because like we talked about before, everyone's different. So I actually wrote a quick start guide to say to people, hey, try this way if you feel like this is going to suit you best, or this way. Like, find out what's going to work best for you and your body, and then decide if you're going to and give that a try instead.
Right. Oh, I didn't realize you had a book about intermittent fasting, man.
Yeah, I'll just send you it.
Check it out. Yeah, please do, man. I'll read it, man.
That's cool.
For sure.
And so, but and you also mentioned one thing, even though you were doing intermittent fasting, which I think this is where a lot of people get confused about, you were doing intermittent fasting, but you were also tracking your calories. And a lot of people just think, oh, I'm just gonna eat for 8 hours a day. But you can still, if you are making a conscious decision of what you're eating, you can still easily overeat your calorie deficit. So tracking and measuring and knowing those things are really important when you're starting out.
Yeah, especially when you're intermittent fasting, getting I was eating 180 grams of protein, 200 grams of protein a day, and it's really hard to eat that much protein unless you know exactly what you're eating. And I can tell you, if you don't track your calories, it's a shitload more chicken than you're actually eating. It's a crazy the amount of protein you have to consume to get to that, and it's also crazy how little carbs, how the carbs add up. And it's also hard to get how much fat you need. I was very frequently under on my healthy fats. It really tracking your calories is like, you learn so much. Just going through that exercise of doing it for like 3 or 6 months or whatever it is, it's you educate yourself so much. I learned so much about nutrition just doing that. You eyeball stuff and you think you know what you're doing. I'm eating healthy, unless you're actually tracking every single thing that goes in your mouth, there's no way to know how many calories you're consuming.
That's so true. And the same thing when it comes to tracking is like, if you have a nibble of something or if you have a bite of something, put it in, because it still counts. Like, you're still consuming calories.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have Cadbury chocolates.
Oh, yeah.
In Australia.
Yeah.
But it's like a real, it's a sort of a guilty pleasure in my house. And, when I was going through, that weight loss, I would sneak, a square or two of Cadbury in. But I don't... That's pretty dense calorically, But yeah, I used to put every single thing in, but I really learned a ton doing it.
Yeah. And it's also funny because it starts to... Well, you were just saying about portion sizes. When you look at oh wow, 100, let's say broccoli, right? 100 grams of broccoli, that's a big amount of volume, and it's hardly any calories. But if you're oh wow, 2 squares of chocolate, that's also the same equivalent. You're man, what do I want here? It's that people just get their mind blown. So many of my clients I didn't realize this, or I didn't realize this. I'm I know, right? It's nuts.
Yeah, it really is. It's eye opening, but it's important exercise, I think, for anyone who's really serious about body transformation.
Absolutely. And it's just funny because you preaching and teaching this to you and your patients, we need more medical doctors teaching these type of things too, because it's so important. We are at an obesity epidemic at the moment, and just having that just that basic awareness of nutrition, of tracking food, and doing some type of physical exercise, especially resistance training, it's so important for people these days.
Totally, man. I mean, listen, it helps with osteoporosis and diabetes, and it's hugely important. And you're right. In the States, obesity is a huge epidemic, and with kids, it's a huge epidemic here. And it's tragic, man. People are chugging sodas and drinking fruit juice and think that's good for them, and there's just so much bullshit out there, and a lack of proper education on diet. It's a real public health crisis, man. And anything that you could do to shed some light on the right way to track your diet and take care of your body. It's like I said, if you touch 1 or 2 lives, that's 1 or 2 people that you're really helping, transform their lives.
Absolutely, man. And I really do appreciate you trying to do that, with what you're doing too. So I appreciate you sharing on social media, because doing that, making that conscious decision of trying to show people online, and having, you have to dedicate time to do that, but at the same time, you're affecting more people. So I really appreciate you going out of your way to do that too.
Hey man, that's it. We're all on a journey, right?
So speaking of
trying to get that good photo.
That's it. So speaking of social media though, where can people find more about you? What are you doing at the moment?
So we're very active on my Instagram page, which is at Dr_Mudgil, at Dr Mudgil, where we post something daily. We do lots of stuff. We do a lot of dermatology stuff and just some fun procedures that I do. We also just post some funny sort of spoofy videos, just trying to keep it interesting, and just keep people up to date with the stuff that I'm doing. And that's been a huge, we've got a lot of growth there, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. We have a YouTube channel, which is just Dr Mudgil. You can just search that on YouTube, where we post longer format videos of some of the stuff that we do. And we also post those same YouTube videos we post with my Facebook, which is Mudgil Dermatology. So you can find us basically on all the big platforms. But most of everything we do kind of goes through Instagram. So if you follow us on Instagram, then you'll have a good sense of all the stuff that we're doing. I'm also right in the early stages. We're going to have actually a TV show, which is going to be on Southeast Asian networks, and we're in the process of filming that now. So that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And that's going to be called the Dr Mudgil Show. I'm also on a podcast, which you can find on anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. It's the Dr Mudgil podcast, which is kind of unrelated to, well, it's related and unrelated to the stuff that we do. That mostly focuses on, folks with stories that inspire me. So the first podcast is the one with my mom, and she's had this great sort of immigrant story in the States and an American dream type story, all the way to like a career New York City bartender who has a great story. So that's basically it. And yeah, you can find me all over the place.
Alright guys, I'm going to put all that in the show notes for where you can find it. But basically, if you just go on Google and you search Dr Mudgil, Instagram, Dr Mudgil, YouTube, whatever it's going to be, he's going to be the first guy that pops up. So make sure you follow him, because this guy's a wealth of knowledge and he's teaching so much cool stuff. And thank you so much again, Dr Mudgil, for coming on.
Hey, this was such a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for asking me to come on. And I really, really enjoyed talking to you, man. This was a lot of fun.
That means you get some free goodies. So what you can do is you've got two different options, or you can take them both. I've got an intermittent fasting cheat sheet and a high protein 20 recipe meal guide designed specifically for you in your situation. These meal plans and this intermittent fasting guide is designed to help you burn stubborn belly fat and get in the best shape of your life. So all you have to do is go to the show notes, click on the download link, and they'll get sent straight to your email address. It's as simple as that. They're completely free. They're gonna help you transform your body. So go to the show notes now and download your free guides, and I'll speak to you in the next episode.